The People's Democratic Party is asking the electoral body INEC to immediately begin conducting fresh elections in the 27 state constituencies in Rivers State. The party says the demand becomes necessary following the alleged vacant positions occasioned by the defection of the 27 former Rivers State House of Assembly members to the All Progressives Congress. In a statement, PDP National Publicity Secretary Debo Ologwagba argues that by defecting from the PDP, the political platform on which they were elected to the Rivers State House of Assembly, the seats of the 27 lawmakers have become vacant by Section 109 of the 1999 Constitution. The Labour Party is also calling on the Speaker of the State House of Assembly to declare vacant the 27 seats of the defected members without delay, in line with the laws of the land. We're joined live from Port Harcourt by legal practitioner, human rights activist and public affairs analyst Festus Ogwuche. Good to see you, Festus, and thanks for your time. Very quickly, let's have a sense of the dynamics of what's at play in the Rivers State House of Assembly.
Well, we are already familiar with this scenario. It's not a terrain that is very new to the people of Rivers State. It's been one that's been played out since the beginning of this democratic dispensation, right from the 1999 between Peter Odili and Chibuka Mechi, Omehia, and Chibuka Mechi and Wike. Had some good relationship with Omehia, but thereafter, I think a short while later, the thing went to hit the rocks. So it's a familiar terrain, and it's not peculiar to Rivers State alone. You find that kind of thing replicated in Edo State, in Lagos State, Ambode and Tinubu, and in other parts of the country. And that's the battle between the incumbent and the person who supposedly put him into political office. And it's a battle that is being dragged like a ball of rollers between who is superior and who is inferior, and who is in control and who is not in control. That has been playing out for quite some time, but unfortunately the political elites fail to understand that this thing has very ignoble effects on the population. They say when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. The river scenario is one that the people are emasculated, and I don't think they have any voice to come out openly and condemn such activities, such political activities. But then it goes back also to the orientation of the political elites in terms of the desperation of the political elites, that, well, it's become the norm now that somebody must put somebody into political office, not by elections, by whichever way, either by brawn or by brains. And at the end of the day, there is some understanding that must be reached. And that understanding, if it is breached at the end, then of course it will create some frosty relationship that could lead to this kind of situation we have in Rivers State, which is very, very unfortunate.
You know, as we've seen in times past in Nigeria, we've seen how political godfathers first would send their foot soldiers to make the crossover before making the big announcement. Do you think that this is just to herald the crossing into the APC by the FCT minister?
I think we have to look at it from the larger picture of the interests, the stakeholdership that is running the state of affairs here in Rivers State. And this has become a sort of an entrenched tradition that has to be checked as quickly as possible. The one issue I find very, very difficult to reconcile myself is that can defection happen in the course of proceedings within plenary? Defections from one political party to the other is quite a very serious matter, taken very seriously in other jurisdictions. And I know very well that we had the opportunity one time to have this nailed at the end, that it is not going to be a wishy-washy affair whereby somebody will wake up in the morning and decide to jump ship and join to any political party. And that was the decision of the Federal High Court in the Ebonyi State governorship defection, but which at the end of the day was frustrated by the Apex Court when they gave an interpretation that one cannot even place his fingers on. All over the world, it is very clear that if anybody is jumping ship as a representative, as a member of parliament, as somebody in executive position, he must he must resile from his membership, his position, which got him there. But in this case, we are misapplying it, and even whatever the Constitution says, I don't think it's contrary to that principle that is globally established. I know very well that this is a ploy, maybe a direct step, a forward movement towards getting the members of the House of Assembly into the particular political party that they aimed at getting into. But I don't think it is done appropriately, and I don't think that a whole mass of members of parliament will jump ship and go to another political party without the mandate of the people, without consulting the people, without adequate consultation with their constituents. Because you cannot just carry a mandate that is given to you from a political party. Of course, the Supreme Court says that the votes are for political parties, and take it to another political party and still be a member of that House of Assembly or member of that parliament. I think what is playing out is unhealthy for our democratic system.
Yeah, speaking of which, before we get into the PDP reaction and some of the key things you've raised here, let's also go back to that scenario painted in the Assembly. Keep in mind, Mr. Ogwuche, just recently a viral video made rounds where we saw the FCT minister singing the political song of the president, Bola Tinubu. The same was being sang today in the Hallowed Chamber of the Rivers Assembly. Now, speak to us about what this is about. One would have thought that the issue between the former governor of the state and the present governor, Governor Sim Fubara, had been settled when it first reared its head. What exactly do you think this would ultimately mean for the governor?
I think we had that impression as well, that the issue had been settled, and somebody had said that it's a battle royale between a father and a son, and the priest had prevailed at the end. What is coming up now is something that's akin to ambushing the governor somewhat, and I was beginning to think whether he was not able to tackle the issues frontally and ensure that every ground is covered to get him to settle in office. It's just barely some 5-6 months into that position, and he had no time to even settle, to put himself together. It is very, very clear that there is a nexus between what Wike has done, the song is sung in Abuja, and the one that they sang here in the House of Assembly, even though it could be said to be a little bit subterranean and surreptitious. But I very much think that what is appropriate in the circumstance is that loyalty is very important for the political individual who is sponsored and who maybe by the nature of our electoral system was pushed into political office by the single force of one individual. And when he gets there, I think it's important for loyalty to be expressed. And for the other party who let me use your word, the godfather, for instance, he should understand that human beings are very dynamic and they have their own individual expressions, and it is not true that at all times you must pander to your whims and caprices. That if you've gone out of political office, whoever you put there, all you need to do is to advise him, to lead him, to guide him, to direct his steps, and not to expect that you wholeheartedly, hook, line, and sinker, take everything that you give him. And that's the problem we have with some of these transitions from one political individual to another, particularly in the governorship terrain, that you begin to see these frosty relationships begin to emerge just a few months after one had been sworn in. Particularly in this case, Wike is also the minister, his hands are full, and I was wondering if he could go beyond the ordinary sphere of giving advisory opinions or maybe guiding the governor in particular directions than being directly involved in partisan issues within the state.
Well, Festus Ogwuche, before I let you go quickly, let us in on the mood in Rivers State. What's the reading? Do you think this is affecting governance as it were?
The mood is that of disenchantment. There's sheer signs of helplessness and hopelessness in the citizenry. Like I told you, they are emasculated. They have no voice. Ordinarily, this is something that they should apply their sense of sovereignty as given to them by the Constitution to determine some of these issues and maybe give a definite direction to what should be done in the appropriate circumstance to save the state of this embarrassment. This thing had been ongoing for quite some time. This is not the first time, like I told you. At every stage of political transition, there has always been problems here in the state. And the elders had intervened, the Niger Delta persons had intervened. When at the brief stage of the squabble between Governor Wike and Sim Fubara, I think Edwin Clark, the Niger Delta personalities had intervened, but it becomes a recurring cycle that becomes so unabated, and I begin to wonder whether these politicians or these political elites, they have something up their sleeves that you and I cannot fathom.
Well, legal practitioner, rights activist Festus Ogwuche, many thanks for your time.